All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we are actually live on the air, and we got the one and only, the legendary, we got Stone Mecca right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Oh man, doing best I can possibly be down here in Canada, man. I'm just so happy just to get back to normal life, man, and get back to doing shows and attending events, man. It definitely feels like a long time coming.
You and me both, man. I've been waiting.
I have to ask, how's everything out there on your end, man? Are you guys all back to normal now, or do you guys still have some of those restrictions in effect?
I'm in Texas right now, so they've been waiting for this thing to be the restriction to be taken. So everybody's kind of back to normal. You go everywhere, nobody's really wearing a mask, and everybody's out doing what they're doing. So.
But Stone, I know you're a very busy individual, man, so I'm going to dive right into this broadcast, but I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career thus far, and I have to ask, what originally made you decide to pursue a career within the music industry initially?
The music itself, like you say, I mean, I've always just, dove into all kind of music since I was a kid, and it was always around me, and it affected me very deeply, and I didn't realize it was different for other people, a lot of other people. I thought everybody felt the same way I did about music and how it affected them, but I realized when I got a little older that it was really, really deep in me. So, and then I started on drums when I was about 9. I bought my first guitar when I was 16, saved my money. I wanted to play, bought a guitar, stay at home, just taught myself every day. Just when you find your passion, that's what I did. I found my passion.
And I got to say as well, you're definitely phenomenal at what you do, man. And you actually had your hand in so many jars, man, within hip hop and different genres of music, man. But the one project that you did that really stood out to me was where you had the opportunity to actually work on Eazy-E's final studio album, straight off the streets of motherfucking Compton. I was wondering, can you tell us a bit more about that project that was posthumously released on January 30th of '96, and of course, how did you actually land on that project?
Well, at that time, most of the stuff that was coming from the West Side, like all the albums and different, recordings that were coming out, I was one of the musicians fortunate enough to be on those albums. So when it was time for something to come in and do, we did live stuff. When they realized we can make the album sound better, either redoing a song they might sample or just doing a song, a totally different song, original song. Maybe they can bring musicians in and they can, make it better and make it where they can have more control over the mix and all of this. We started doing all of that, man. Me and another guy named Playback, we did a lot of that together. And so it was for that one individual. It's hard to remember, that was a long time ago. But some of that stuff, we would go in there, and whoever the producer was at that point, we'll come in, and it might be a beat laid, and then we'll just get started on it and just start laying all the other elements on top. We wouldn't even know a lot of times who was going to end up with the song, But on that particular one, if I recall, Eazy did come in to the studio that one for that song while we were doing that song, and it ended up getting out there. Same with a few other ones that I did some of them, like I said, I did one with Snoop. Didn't know that I didn't meet him. He didn't come into the studio, so I can't remember what producer was doing it. And we did it, and it ended up being a Snoop record. But all of the stuff that was coming from the West Coast, we were doing. So.
And when you mentioned a few moments ago as well that Eazy-E actually came into the studio while you were doing that, did you actually have any interactions with Eazy-E, or was it kind of just like he came in and then just left right after?
I'm trying to remember, man, because I met Eazy a couple times, and I'm trying to remember that one time. You know what I mean?
It definitely was a long time ago. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe that album was actually being recorded in his last final year. So I think like 94, 95, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah. So like I said, I can't recall the interaction because we were, like I said, we were in the studio so much during that time dealing with different people's albums, and some people I got to know good. I mean, you know, me and Q, I used to go over his house and record, just me by myself, because then he realized I could play more than one instrument, and we didn't need to call other people. He would just call me, and we'll lay stuff. And uh, uh, so different people I actually spent time with, where we actually, he called me directly and come over, let's do this, you know. And then some people was, you know, the producer I was working with, and that person might come in, might not, you know. So I can't really recall that one.
And I know when you saw I mentioned a few moments ago how you actually, you're really close with Ice Cube. I remember as well that you actually took part in the Friday soundtrack as well.
Oh yeah. When it was funny to see that whole thing come together, because when he had a studio called Street Knowledge over in L.A. and it was like South Central L.A. and I used to go over there every day just about we'd work. You know, it'd be me and Payback or whoever else, and we're working at studio, and that's when Q was really coming out as a producer. And that when that project came along, DJ Pooh and him wrote the project, and DJ Pooh, the other thing was he grew up around the corner from me, so I knew DJ Pooh before he was DJ Pooh, when he was in the FBI crew. He was just a DJ a long time ago, but so see that come about, like the car that Chris Tucker was rolling in, Lil Vega. That actually was a car that belonged to some guys who lived around the corner that we used to just drive by the house to get to the studio. That was actually their car. I think they bought it from them to use it in the movie, you know. And then we would get there, and then he'd tell me the scenes, like, you know, this one we getting high the first time on this scene or whatever. So I'll go in and try to make, like, if you listen to that, look at that part of the movie, you'll see me, you hear the music, and it's kind of, I was thinking, like, how can I make it sound like somebody's high? So you'll hear this floating kind of thing with the guitar and some other stuff, you know. So we kind of mapped out parts and, you know, went in on them like that.
And did you ever get the opportunity to visit the set, or was it just strictly, like behind-the-scenes music work?
At that time, man, I wasn't really asking and wanting to how you can be around people that are like that, and you're like wanting to be whatever they're doing and get involved and all this. I was just a musician and an artist that had that opportunity to get out with these dudes. And then when I wasn't with them, I was over here doing my band stuff, all this other stuff. So I could have gotten involved at that level where I knew this was happening. I'll go down, be in this shoe to do this and do that because we rolled like that. But it wasn't a desire of mine. So I didn't even know if they were shooting it, when they were shooting at me. I never asked, I came in, did the music, and then got out, So, no, I didn't go down to the set, but I already met Chris Tucker back then when he was doing all of that. So I knew him before he was known and big and all of that. So, and the movie was kind of based on where I grew up. Debo was a dude named Brock that was in the neighborhood, because I told you DJ Pooh grew up around the corner. So a lot of the way it was wrote and everything was kind of just like what it was growing up where I grew up, So, but yeah, I never had the desire to really go and be a part of that part of it back then. I wasn't even thinking like that.
And also, in the year 2007, you actually released your first album titled First Conduct. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this project. And of course, is it still available to be streamed or purchased today?
Oh yeah, First Contact, yeah. No, that's definitely available everywhere. You can just look it up, just Stone Mecca First Contact. And for that album, I dug into my R&B soul roots and wanted to create some what I thought was good music with that kind of element to it. So, and I'm a perfectionist, so it's kind of like if I can't do it, I'll get somebody else to do it. And at that time, the things I was hearing vocally, I couldn't do. I was mainly a guitar player, producer, arranger, and all that. But so I got other people to come in with me. Salakita sung on it. Alan Anthony sung on it. Wendy sung on it, and then me. It was, and then that's all the people that sung on it. But I produced and wrote all the music to for every track on there. So it was more like a production release of what I do and the song, and then I have people come in and make it the best it can be as far as vocally and things like that. But and that was a come together. That was kind of like some of those songs had been done at different times, and so I kind of pulled them together to put them and make the album, and put them on the album. Because I felt like that show a full range of kind of that idea I had at the time. So, but yeah, we that's like I said, it's still available. You still find it everywhere, and a lot of people that love because this was we did a lot of those songs before there was Erykah Badu's or D'Angelo's and stuff like that. So we were already in that vein. But so a lot of people that love that kind of stuff love that album. People are still listening to the album. But yeah, it's available.
And also as well, you actually appeared on the WuTang Clan's 5th studio album titled 8 Diagrams in 2007 that actually sparked a long-time partnership with yourself and RZA. I was wondering, how did yourself and the WuTang Clan originally get connected? And of course, what was it like just working on that project?
Well, by that time, actually, me and RZA had been doing things for a few years before that, actually. RZA heard my music. His daughter had a copy of my it wasn't even the first. It was the first Contact album, but it was unreleased. It hadn't been released yet, so it was kind of like one of those versions you put out right before demonstration type version. And she really loved it. He saw how much she loved it and how she was in there listening to it and stuff. And he was brought to a show of mine, and then that's where I first met him. And he said that his label would be up, in next year or something like that. He wanted to offer us a deal to get out there and do stuff. So we just started working together after that, man. And the first songs I actually did with him were on the Afro Samurai show, at the soundtrack and in the show. And that was he licensed 2 songs from me that I had already done, and those got really good reviews and everything like that. So that was kind of where we first did something that the public heard, And then from there, that was like 2000. I don't know, 2006. I don't know. It was somewhere. We had been working together since around 2005. And then the 8 Diagrams came about. We finally got the clan all together, and we were going to do this new album, and I was already around. And so it was just kind of like, we just melded into it and just started working on it.
And I noticed as well that you guys do a lot of touring together as well, man. If you don't mind me asking, what countries have you guys actually toured together?
Let's see. We did most of the U.S. Because I did the Rock the Bells tour with them, with the whole WuTang Clan, and then we did the Bobby Digital tour, where it was me, the Stone Mecca, and Bobby Digital. We did that. We had the buses. We did all of that, So that was a lot of the States. Then we went over to different parts of Europe. We did Canada. We did the One Love Festival just a few years ago. So it's kind of like whenever he was going to go out and do Bobby Digital stuff, anything where it was like he wanted to live band behind me. You know, I was the music director and all of that, so I'll get everything together and we'll go out and rock it, because we rock hard when it's the band with you. It gets more control. You know what I mean? And the way I do it is I always make the music sound. First, I make it sound like the album, like because a lot of times musicians can't translate the hip hop sound to a live setting. You know what I mean? If they're doing a live band, but I always made sure that it sounded like the album first, and then we added extra, so it had a hit and the, you know, all the more excitement and stuff. So everybody was happy with it. You know, he was really happy with it, and the promoters and fans, when we go to different places, they just were like, "Man, I didn't expect this," you know. So every time we do that, we have a good time.
And also as well, while we're still on the topic of concerts and performing and touring, you also had the opportunity to perform live with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that experience, and of course, what was it like just sharing the stage with those fellow legendary individuals?
Oh man, that was what like turned my whole ear to wanting to get out and do this thing for real, because I was really young, you know, and I think I was 19 years old or something, 19, 20. And when I first went out with them, and just to see that show and know that great music every night, and they still had like the magic stuff happening back when I went. It was still 5 original members. They had the big magical stage with the big mirror in the back. They'll go up in the box and disappear at the end of the show and all this kind of stuff, you know. So just to be a part of that, to see that with all that beautiful, the music is just, you know, it's universally, it's amazing. So to be a part of that at a young age just made me want to go out and do the same thing. So I tried different bands, put bands together to be like that and all of this, but you know, it's a different time for people. It was a different time for people. Back then, they come together and they knew they needed to be a band, so they stuck together. When I was doing it, people wanted to do their own thing, and it was more like, you know, every man for himself. So the band thing didn't work. But and then when I was out doing stuff with Riz when we were doing about the digital tour, right after that, Earth, Wind, and Fire was playing at some place. It was in a wine place. I can't remember where it was, but we got to open up for them. So it came full circle. It was really cool, you know. This was years later. And their big audience really, you know, loved us and gave us a hand, clap for us. It was really cool. Doing original songs for any of these people, in front of people that have, you know, when you're performing with that are there to see such big artists. WuTang Clan has like a cult following. You know, and Earth, Wind, and Fire people, they're really musical. They want to hear Earth, Wind, and Fire. So if you can get them to respond to you, that's a big deal. And it was beautiful to see that they did. And then right after we get off the stage, you know, they go up and do their show. And it was just, man, we had a ball. But yeah, that was a very influential situation for me, you know.
And also as well, immediately following this interview, I'm actually be playing one of your singles titled "Pray," that was actually released November 5th of 2022. I was wondering, what can our listeners actually expect from this song when I play it right here first on the Canadian FM dial?
Well, my solo stuff, you know, what I've always wanted to do, what I started with, was more of a, you know, funky rock out kind of thing. You know, I like classic rock. I like funk. I like soul, R&B, you know, stuff like that. But I kind of hadn't done that yet. So now I'm doing my own solo thing where I'm just doing that. The album before this one that's coming out soon is an Alien Man. And that was kind of an experimental thing, just to go all the way as far as I can with what I want to do and see if it'll be accepted. And it was very well accepted. So now I'm like, okay, well, I can go out here and just do what I want to do exactly. And Pray is on an album that hasn't been released yet. It's going to be self-titled. And the single I put out right before that was Stay Away, Shay. And that's kind of got like a R&B, soul, but an edge to it. Got some distortion and stuff in there. But we're coming out of the pandemic, and I feel like a lot of people went through a lot, and I made a song called Pray, because we all, have something that we, bow down to, whether it be whatever religion you're in or whatever it is. And if it brings you inspiration and it picks you up and it gets you through, then that's what this song was based on. It was mine. It was who I, asked for healing and all of these things with. And so I feel like the world can use something like that. You know what I mean, right then. So this one is a kind of like a psychedelic. What I do now is kind of like a psychedelic funk rock kind of thing. So this one follows along the same thing.
And I gotta say, it's definitely is a phenomenal single, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing it here on the FM dial, man. I think the listeners will definitely enjoy it.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate you, reaching out, asking me to do this interview.
Hey, I definitely appreciate your time as
well.
Got many
man. More.
But also, Stone, this is the time in the interview quickly, man, that I give a chance for the individual just to talk about what they have next, just in case I missed anything. Like, is there anything else you do still want to talk about or promote?
I think the main thing for me is to let people know to don't be afraid to be who you are completely. You don't have to follow trends. You don't have to follow this. You do yourself. Nobody can do you better than you. And you do it, there's an audience out there for you regardless, because, with musicians and music, like, the industry and things like that, they try to put you in a box, but you're an individual, you're an artist. And just like painters, painters are known mainly because their works are distinguishable, they look different. You know who's that painting. You know who's that painting because they look different. Yeah, we all might use the same brushes and paint to make, as our tools. But the painting should always come out different if you're an individual. And, with music, they look at artists, they make them different. They put them in a box. They tell them they can do this or that. But that's not really the case if you're an individual and you're an artist. So all I'm saying by that is in my music, that's what I try to give to people. My main thing is to inspire people with that. So listen to it. You'll know me by listening to my music. Next album, I think, shows a lot of that. Like I said, it's going to be self-titled, so it's going to be called Stone Mecca. And I don't have a release date for it yet, but it's coming. I'm just now starting to get back out. I have a show coming up out here in Dallas at Trees with the Far Side. You remember the Far Side, right?
Oh, man, you can never go wrong with the Far Side, man. Fat Lip's my favorite member.
Yeah, so all three of them, now there's three of them back together now. So they're on the road right now, and I'm doing the show with them in Austin and then in Dallas. And that's going to be my first show to come back out again and start doing these shows. So that's really exciting, and we're excited about building and making some more tours, and hopefully I can hit Canada soon because I really love Canada when I come out there and play.
But also, Stone, this is the time in the interview quickly that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Stone Mecca all across the board.
I'll give a shout-out to my children first. My daughter, Mundera, and my son, Azraya. My wife, Cole, my family, my sister, Lonnie. Just the people that have always been there. My father, mother, rest her soul. And then the people that have helped me along the way, RZA and, Cube and all these people that took me in and let me come and be a part of their thing, Yeah. And And then all these people out here in Dallas, where I am right now, that are really good people that I work with, that I've met. They are some phenomenal people out here. So, and then as far as my social tags, everything is under Stone Mecca. So if you Google Stone Mecca, or your Instagram or Facebook, whatever you're doing, it'll be all under Stone Mecca. So, you know, yeah, hit me up. You know, I check my own social media. I ain't one of those guys that has somebody else doing it. So, you got a question, you know, I will respond like that. And when I get to it, you know, sometimes I'll be tired, but I will. But yeah, I think that's it.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Stone, thank you so much for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM airways, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you 100%. I'm sorry, I gotta give a shout out to Mousequake for hooking me up with this thing too as well. And I know you know Mousequake already, so
definitely phenomenal individual.
That's a wonderful dude. Like I was saying, when I was thinking a bit about these people out here in Texas, that's one of them. He's a wonderful guy. So, yeah.
Most definitely shout out to Mousequake, and definitely shout out to you, Stone, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening. It definitely was a tremendous honor, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again.
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
You're most certainly welcome, Stone. Have yourself a great night.
Bye, you too.